This is my 2-inch water line right here that an entire town of Otter Creek is obsessing over. Everyone from the mayor, Russ the Sus, to Mary Mary. Ooh, math is scary. I paid $2,360 for this meter. This meter right here to get fresh water to my home. And it's not even fresh. Many of you said, why in the world would you pay a city or a town for water that you can't even drink? That's a great question. And I'm about to break it all down for you. What has happened, what hasn't happened, why the town is so obsessed with my water line. I wish somebody would have been obsessed with my water line years ago, but now everybody wants a piece of my 2-inch water line. The town of Otter Creek is intentionally stealing from me. Everyone from Russ the Sus, the mayor, to the town clerk, Mary Mary. Whoa, math is scary for that woman. And the reality is they're overcharging me. They're sending me late fees for ridiculousness. They're sending disconnection notices over and over and over again. I never needed their water. And some people have even hypothesized that I'm taking all the town water and I'm filling my pond. First of all, I never dug the pond. We bought this property and this hole was in the ground. Where I'm from, this ain't a pond. George, what would you call this?
A hole in the ground.
Mud hollering? This actually runs on wells. We have multiple wells on the property. Let me show you them. Here we go. This is the pond well right here. All I gotta do to fill up the pond, boom! You see that? You hear that? Oh my goodness.
What?
Is that a 2-inch line? Oh man, do not let the town know that I have 2-inch lines all over the property. Here, come on, George, come on over to the pond.
Okay.
Come on over to the pond. Now, what's going on is we got about a 40-foot well down in the ground. And that well is pumping all that water up. Mm-hmm. Florida has fresh water everywhere. It is the place of the largest aquifer system in the world with fresh water. And all we got to do to get water is just turn a switch and bam. If I wanted to fill the pond with water, I got all my own water right here on my property. I didn't get town water to fill a pond. Here's another well. It actually feeds the house. Here, you want to see where some of the water is, George? Come on over here.
Sure.
So we have it cut off to the house right now, but we use it for the animals, for all the birds. We got chickens, we got ducks, we got peacocks. Boom, there it is right there. Do we got pressure? Yeah, we got pressure. We got better pressure than the town of Otter Creek. The other thing that we have is, honestly, we've got more generation of income than Otter Creek. We actually hooked up to the water to help the town, because that's their source of income. And if I lay it right down on the line, the whole town of Otter Creek, in 1 year, the income they have, I can generate that in less than a day. So if they want to battle and want to fight, bring it on. This battle over my water bill is 3 years running now. George, look at this. Look at this. Remember, where were we 12/29/2022 through 2/03/2023? Do you remember where we were? Oh, wait, we weren't in
Otter Creek.
No, definitely not in Otter Creek. We were in California. We were in Hawaii. We were in Vegas.
We were at the Grand Canyon.
Check this out. Apparently, we were using the water from the Grand Canyon because they said while we were not here on site, we used 7,600 gallons of water. And it gets better. Look at this. In our commercial water meter, even though we're here on a residential piece of property, listen, I can't even begin to understand the incompetence and the complete and total corruption that goes on with Town Hall. But I am about to expose it all. But before I do, let's take a little trip backwards 3 years ago and let's see why and how I put this entire water line in. I already paid $3,000 to put a brand new pump in this well. There's multiple wells on the property. This one is 41.5 feet deep. It's gonna cost $20,000 to hook up into the town water. That's not cheap. This is the location of the old water meter, 3/4 inch. And we need 2 inches to get 1,100 feet out that way. Literally digging into the main. There's the main pipe right there. You're gonna have to connect that in. That's another $2,600 I think I'm paying just to connect. After a long day of work, that's the old meter. and they had some issues, but there's the truck. The new meter is in. That is a 2-inch line. Now, to go 1,100 feet back into the woods is going to cost $12,000. This is what 1,100 feet, yes, 1,100 feet of trenched line looks like. We've got a huge water line coming in. When you make big plans, you've got to have big utilities. Flowing, flowing, flowing. Keep that water going.
Do you or do you not want to poop and be able to flush the toilet?
I can do that with anything. Not to mention, I was okay with using the bucket. You were not okay with using the bucket.
No, I'm not okay.
This is probably the best thing I actually did, though. I went ahead and had the well, which I already spent the money on, feed all of the outside spigots. So that's going to continue. It's going to continue to be well water. Remember, all this is getting dosed eventually anyway. Only the fresh water goes into the house and into the camper. That is fresh town filtered water, even though it's not drinkable because our town still can't even get to the point of drinkable water.
We still have to put it to the test.
And we did put the water to the test. So much so that we spent over $5,000 on a very, very state-of-the-art, high-efficiency water filter so that we could actually have clean water. We had Otter Creek water tested. It came back bad. Don't touch it. Don't drink it. Don't do anything with it. It was a mess. And so we actually had our personal professional suggest this system, which we installed. And here we are still being put to the test. By the way, there's a lot of people in Otter Creek that go, oh my goodness, what the hell's Jeremy and George? They're the bad people. They're the bad guys. Let's keep in mind, they put us to the test from the very beginning. Let's go back in time yet again and see that we bought property with known encroachments, which is illegal. We've had trespassing. We've had illegal dumping. We've had illegal hunting. Drugs. The list goes on. And somehow we're the bad guys here. Even the perfect piece of property can be spoiled by the imperfect neighbors. And boy, do I have a doozy of them. I'm headed over to confront them now. They've got stuff all over my property. There have been bombs going off in the middle of the night. Let's go talk to them. This is not a public road. This is private property. Get the truck off my property now. I'm gonna back up. I want the truck off my property. Okay. All right? Don't come on my property again. I don't want you on my property, and I don't want you blocking this public road either. Do you understand?
Okay.
You want to tell me what you're doing on my property?
Yeah, I park there all the time.
Don't ever park there again. Why are you parking there?
I needed to get to the backyard.
For
some tools and things like that.
Whose yard is it?
Susie.
You don't go through my property to get to Susie's backyard.
I understand.
All right? I don't ever want to see you there again. If I see you there again, I'm going to tow your truck out. All right? Do not block this road. Drugs are happening here on my road. That's what's really happening. And they're using the access road that the tower company has leased to access the drugs. Here's just a glance of my property. This road being, this road being leased by the cell tower company. You can see the garbage just everywhere. Everywhere. This is just absolutely insane. This is beyond hoarding. This is my property. This is my property. This is my property. I've got a vehicle illegally on my property, parked illegally on my property, brought in here by Kenny. I'm just gonna take it straight out with the tractor. Let's see how this goes.
If you want to go after him for any charges,
Yep, I'll go after him.
towing fees or anything like that, then you can do so.
I'll never understand the concept of getting on somebody else's property and putting your own stuff on it. So for example, here's the feed bucket that I removed from my tree. Here's a camera that I removed from my tree. Next time I find anything, I'm just taking it. It's mine. It's on my property. I own it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care how long you lived somewhere. It does not give you a right to claim somebody else's property, to do things on somebody else's property without their permission. And no permission was granted here by the previous owner or the new owner, ever. Neighbors still trying to turn our property into a dump.
Dumped it right in front of the no dumping sign.
Here in the state of Florida, you could be held liable for selling a piece of property without disclosing. Let me make sure I get this legally correct. Item defects that are not readily observable and materially affect the value of the property. Now, this is even when you sell property as is. So that means encroachments. Not only is the potential seller liable, my neighbor, but also this implicates all of the family members that sold as well. And that includes Cecilia, that includes Teresa, Richard, that includes, oh yeah, I got it all here, Deborah, that includes, oh, Tina, that also includes Alfreda. Now, Tina, you've already told me you're the black sheep of the family. I got a feeling the family isn't gonna be too happy if you drag them into this. And if you wanna claim ignorance, better remember this.
So she knows that she's encroaching all over the property already?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Because we told her, we were like, Susie, come on, we're trying to sell the property, you know? And it's like, once we said that, I mean, you got more.
This is the area they're encroaching on this area. I went to them respectfully. I said, hey, I paid for the survey. We got an encroachment issue. And then the threats were made as far as against me and against my personal property. And then this was done as well. This is all on my property. Where's
the property marker up here?
It's right up there. So it goes from there to up here.
So all this from where that marker is in the pin straight up
It's
is
gonna
actually
go-
your property. Kind of
it's-
goes right where the boat thing
It's
is.
gonna go on the side of the boat straight up. This is my property.
Been out here several times. Normally the lights are shot out at the middle of the tower. The markers, they're normally shot out, but then we change those out to LED, and we haven't had no issues with those yet.
So they're shooting at the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally with the gun.
With a gun.
Gun shooting. Yeah, it's these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's these
And
guys right here.
If they hit the lines on the tower, that's a felony offense. I mean, that's
Wait,
25 years.
25 years if they shoot the actual
Shoot
line.
the coax line.
You got about 3 seconds to get off of my property before I put 3 bullet holes in your head.
I just want you to separate yourself because it seems like there's becoming sort of a disagreement. I don't want anything to occur.
They're starting the vehicle now.
Okay, if they leave, just tell me which direction they head. Did you see any weapons, any drugs or alcohol with them?
I do know they are leaving. They're going to Florida State 24 right now, and I do know that the neighbor here deals meth out of the home. That just highlights pretty much our first season here in Otter Creek. And some of you right now are thinking, what the hells are you doing living there? Listen, we came here to hide. We literally came here to hide. We never wanted Otter Creek to be on the map. We didn't want our home to be on the map. Nobody knows where our home is up north. And by the way, if you think you know where it is, good way to get yourself blocked is trying to tell the world. And so we never wanted the world to know where we're at. But all of this stuff kept happening for accountability. And where was Town Hall? Where was the mayor, Russ the Sus? Where is the mayor, Laura, I'm not Vermont? Nowhere. All of this stuff is happening and nothing is being cared for. Let me say this very, very clearly because I know the town of Otter Creek, the people are watching. So Help me, God, if you put those people back in office. I am going after your office. You better put the right people in the right positions in this town to actually do something to protect the precious people in this town. And Russ is not that person. And Laura is not that person. And there's a handful of others that aren't that person. And your city clerk who keeps sending me turn-off notices saying that I spent, 17,700 gallons, a swimming pool size of water. Oh my goodness. The woman can't even do math. Some of you have already watched videos of her trying to just come up with the bill, and I just get so frustrated. I just am writing checks right now, and it's thievery. They're stealing from me. Remember this? I've talked to some members of the council already. They are unaware of this. As a matter of fact, the members of the council that I talked to said it does not matter whether you're commercial or residential. The rate is the rate is the rate. It's 4,000 gallons. After that, then you're charged after that. And why are they doing this? And so the council, most of your members of your council have no idea about this.
Well, and we're going to be doing rate adjustments very soon.
Rate adjustments really soon, and yet you hit me with a number you just pull out of your head. The current council, there were good members on that council, know nothing about it. Catch her in her first lie. And by the way, she's liable. She's completely and totally liable for all of these things. Now, after we move away for a season, for the summer season, Laura Mott comes in as mayor, and they actually do create a resolution. I wouldn't say it's an actual town ordinance yet. It's going to be questionable of whether it's legal or not. Who do you think they created it for? What the hails? So where does that put us? I mean, we've got a council and a town clerk that won't even tell us when our water bill is out of the ordinary. And that was our first month. The world knows we were gone. And Mary knows we were gone. They all gossip. They all know where we're at. They all behind the scenes, okay? By the way, your normal town, your city, if something's off, they usually come and they give you a piece of paper. Hey, a toilet may be running, the whole deal. They know. This is a town of almost 80 registered voters. That's it. They know.
Well, you used a lot of gallons.
So let's speak realistically to one another. We both know I didn't use 17,700 gallons.
I don't know what you use because I have no.
So let's speak realistically together. We both know I didn't use 17,700 gallons. So I've already called Lonnie. I said, hey, is the meter broke? And Lonnie has assured me, he said, Jeremy, yes, they break. It's minute. He said, you should be good for about 1 million gallons. So I'm searching for a broken line. I can't find a broken line. If there is a broken line, it's underneath the cement pad. 17,700 gallons, that's the size of a large swimming pool. And even though it's Florida, there should be some sign somewhere of water.
Yes, there should. And when you're using a lot of gallons, turn everything off and look at the meter.
Okay.
If it's turning, you've got a leak.
Okay, so we've done that. So the good news is we've done that. So I would think on your side of things, you would have went, Jeremy has never ever used more than the base minimum amount of gallons. We should tell him there's got to be a leak or let him know something. I'm a little upset that you didn't, and I feel like even if you don't like me, just common courtesy. I would do the same for you and go, Mary, you gotta have a leak or something's going on. Your meter is broken. Even if you don't like me, just pretend and say, hey, Jeremy, there's an issue.
I've got no problem with
okay.
that.
So
but
there
like
is
I
an
said,
issue.
I don't know what you're doing there.
And then when we say supposedly spend or use 17,700 gallons, oh, well, I don't know what's going on your property. Oh, really? Because you're not watching, right? Just absolute insanity. Just absolute, geez, how do you even, inconsideration? So I have a turn-off notice here. You're refusing to actually go through this with me.
The turn-off notice is how it has been done for years.
You know what else was done for years? Women weren't allowed to vote. Should we go back to that, Mary? Was that a good idea? If we come back to a point where we say, hey, it was the meter, then we can reassess this.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pull up that meter.
Nobody gets free water in Florida.
I don't want to pull up the meter.
Yeah.
And when I can do a couple $100 of repiping.
And that brings something else into. If you do change the meter, do you want to go back
Nope,
to the?
absolutely
okay.
I want it exactly what it's going to be, and I want to charge reasonably for what it is that I'm actually purchasing.
Okay.
So I absolutely want what I have.
The charge is cost plus 20%.
You just catch that? Any breaks past the meter is my responsibility. And that's the way it is everywhere. And every homeowner knows that. But now all of a sudden, if it's the meter, I have to pay another $2,360. The town adds 20% on to profit off of that. All of a sudden, the town isn't responsible for broken meters anymore. I just don't know what to do. I'm too nice. I'll tell you that. I'm too nice. You've seen everything I've gone through so far, and I'm done being nice to these people. I am done displaying grace and mercy. My one last act is to actually see and know for sure that my pipe isn't broken. And if that meter is broken, I'm going after the town for a new meter, and I'm going after the town for absolutely everything they have. Town of Otter Creek says we use 17,700 gallons. Jimmy, my main man over here, reached out to me. He says, man, I'm a master plumber. Let's see if we can eliminate there actually being a line busted under the concrete before we spend over $2,000 again, because the town says we're responsible for the meter. Jimmy, you ever heard of a town making the actual resident responsible for the meter?
On your side, yes.
But the meter's their side.
Yes, meter on their side.
Even though I paid $2,360 for it, and they want to charge me for it again if it's faulty. Makes no sense to me at all. Our 2-inch line comes all the way back into the house, and it comes into a 1-inch line, which then goes into our filtration system, which we've shared with before already, which then reduces down to a 3/4 line, and then this 3/4 line goes underneath this concrete. So the only thing that we can figure, Jimmy, like we've isolated everything, the toilet, the sink, the other sink, shower. We've isolated everything. This is the only thing we can figure is there's somewhere underneath this concrete pad. And so what we're going to do is we're literally going to come off of here and we're going to go above the concrete pad, and then we'll know for sure, is it our line under the concrete or is it the town meter that they're making me responsible for? If this line ever leaks in the future,
we in trouble.
It's going to leak right on the electrical, and but we'll know. We'll definitely know whether it's the meter or whether it's the line. Jimmy is a walking miracle. Do you want to tell everybody what happened to you? You fell 4 stories?
4 stories, head first.
Head first, 4 stories. Look at him. Look, he's got scars here. All of this is steel. Look at that. Scars here, stars. He's literally Hercules standing up here keeping the piping together. He won't let me do it.
That's incredible.
So you fell 4 stories. You're missing this portion of your bone.
On this arm.
This arm. And then your wrist was to your elbow.
Yep, my wrist was touching my elbow. Fingers, wrist was touching here. Fingers were touching the elbow. Shattered. Wow. 3 vertebrae in my back. Fractured them, and shattered both of my hips.
Wow. And
he lived to tell his story.
And then he lived to tell the story. And then he lived to say, hey, Jeremy, I live an hour away from you. Let's take care of that plumbing problem. And he won't let me touch the pipes.
Oh, Jimmy, we are blessed that you found us.
Thank you.
Olite saves the day again. It's Super Jimmy and Super Olite. It's one of the reasons. You see that, Jimmy?
Magnet.
It's a magnet, and we stick it up there for lights. So our electric here, for some reason, isn't working. And so we stick the Olite over there. Remember, we only have the tools that we find in storage units. So Jimmy's professional, and I'm teaching Jimmy how to Jeremy rig, not a Jimmy rig. So we need to punch in a hole to actually take the 3/4 inch pipe down to the hot water heater. And my drill bits go up to about 1/2 inch, somewhere around there. And so we're just going to punch it in.
Doing it old school way.
Yeah, old school way. I'm like, Jimmy, I'll do it. He's like, I got this, man. I got this. So
this is how the natives did it before power tools came out.
That's true. So he's learning really quick how to Jeremy rig, not Jimmy rig. Jimmy, you are an artiste.
You're the man.
How's the water heater looking?
Dude, it's on dirt. I've actually never, ever in my entire life seen that before.
You've never seen a Florida water heater on just like that?
Nope. It's always either plywood. They have something underneath of it. This has nothing underneath but dirt.
Welcome to Otter Creek, Jimmy. Turning the breakers off for the WH. That might be White House. I think the president actually used to live here in Otter Creek. That's their claim to fame. Could be water heater, but that's the big thing. Jimmy's taking a big risk right now because he's throwing the dice and gambling. I don't know. With this place, it's anybody's guess what this could actually be to.
Only in Otter Creek.
Jimmy's about to cut the town of Otter Creek off.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Jimmy. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, yeah. So that's the line that feeds underneath the actual cement pad. That's why we're coming up above. It's a little brittle, huh?
Yeah. Little. Take the word for it.
It's a little brittle, a little tough, a little rough.
Is that the original piping?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the original piping right there. Okay. This is like almost a moment of truth because what we're gonna do, you see what Jimmy's doing? He's cutting it off right there.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is tie it into here. All right. So you see this whole line? So this whole line comes over here. Remember, there's a line under here. And then we're going this entire length over here. Instead of underground, we're going above ground. We're going through the Jimmy rig. Yeah, I said Jimmy rig. He's a master of his own now. He doesn't need the Jeremy rig. He's a Jimmy rig. And coming to the hot water heater. Now, here's the problem, George. Once we go to the hot water heater, we're actually cutting off the water line, the cold water line to the toilet and to the kitchen sink. Okay. So to flush the toilet now, we're gonna have to bucket water and dump it just like the old days when we were at the warehouse with Marilyn, bucketing water. It's like my whole life is coming back in circles again. And washing dishes, we'll have to go over to the camper. We'll still have cold water over to the camper, but you will have cold and hot water in your shower, which is right here.
What about the sink in the bathroom?
No, you probably won't have any water there either. So you're going to use the camper now for the sinks. This is just part of living here in Otter Creek because things are always getting odder and odder and odder. This reminds me of when my dad used to work on the car and I was told to hold the flashlight. Except Jimmy hasn't yelled at me once yet. Not once. I haven't gotten in trouble for anything.
I get yelled at by you when I hold the flashlight.
But I've been putting it in his eyes. I've been making bunnies like this. I've been
making shadows.
Shadows. He ain't yelled at me once. Chopped her off. Put her back in. She's looking pretty. Jimmy, you do some beautiful, beautiful work. You are the man.
Oh, thank you.
You're the man with the plan. You know I'm doing plumbing, okay?
I know, but I just want to say I'm no plumber, but I assembled an official pump for some ketchup for you.
Hey, Jimmy! George thinks she's a plumber now because she's putting pumps in for ketchup.
I'll be plumbing ketchup for Jeremy.
See if it turns on, see if it leaks.
It's leaking, Jimmy!
It's got a leak right there.
It's definitely leaking, Jimmy! Testing the lines. You can see here, this is the inlet. We're open. We're partially open here. This is our brand new line.
I can hear it.
No leaks so far. The big question is, what's the meter doing up front? And we're gonna go take a peek and see what's happening. I'm calling Jimmy right now. We're by the meter. All right. We haven't looked yet. Let's see what's going on.
I'm afraid to look.
I'm afraid to look too. Okay. Yes, sir. All right, Jimmy, you back there?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm peeking right now. And what's your guess? What do you think's happening to the meter?
Is it spinning or not?
At all.
You're correct. It is not moving at all. No movement whatsoever.
Awesome.
So, if anything after this, it's 100% on the town. 100%. Because they can't blame me for anything after this.
That's correct.
All right, I'm going to swing back and give you a big high five because you're the Superman.
All right, thanks, man.
Bye-bye. Super Jimmy!
Super hell.
Hey, Jimmy.
Sir.
What do you think about the mayor of Otter Creek?
Sorry.
Wait, I have another important question.
Jimmy!
Have you ever seen plumbing worse than what we have here at the ranch?
Yes, I have.
Say what?
Yeah, he saw Russ the Suss's work here in
that
Otter
makes
Creek.
sense.
Oh, one more question. Jimmy, will you run for mayor of Otter Creek?
No.
He said hails no.
Yeah, hails no.
Jeremy, one more final test to see if your ketchup pump works.
You just want to know how good of a plumber you are. You know, Jimmy is a master plumber, but I gotta say,
I'm still learning.
You could probably even teach him a few things here. Look at that, barbecues pork, some
With
nice
some
white rice.
Some jasmine rice.
Not bad. Your plumbing's almost better than Jimmy's.
You like that?
I like it a lot, I do. It's funny, with all the rumors that people say that we want to come in and we want to develop Otter Creek and we want to do this and we want to do that, they live better than we do. In an aspect of trying to do everything right, to make sure it's not my responsibility, we cut off all water to the toilet. The only reason the toilet is actually flushing, because now what we have to do is go get water from the well, and then we have to fill the back of the tank back up so that we can actually flush. And we did all of that just to make sure that it's not our responsibility for a broken line.